Today, I want to give you 4 different things that you can do when you are multi-apping. These are advanced multi-apping techniques that I use when I'm out here doing food delivery so that I can make the most money when I'm out here driving my car around, picking up orders and dropping them off to make the money that I want to make. My name is John McFall, and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel, where I teach you how to make $25 to $30 an hour doing food delivery, and I also teach you how to make semi-passive income. In today's video, I want to give you 4 different things that you can do when you're out here doing multi-apping to make sure that you're making the most money that you can. These are things that nobody else is really talking about, so I hope that you get a lot out of today's video and that it will help you improve what you're doing when you're out here doing multiple apps and trying to get the money for you and your family. So I want to break these 4 things down for you today so it can help you out. The first thing I want to talk about to you is taking orders on multiple apps at the same time. This is something that I do on a regular basis if the situation warrants when I'm out here taking orders on these food delivery apps. The reason that I thought of this idea and that I came up with this idea is because these apps are consistently sending us stacked orders when it's really busy. The other thing that I noticed when I saw these stacked orders is a lot of times it was picking up at 1 or 2 different restaurants, and then it was delivering. The first one was kind of close, the next one was a little bit farther away, and I thought to myself, how can I make this happen for myself? If I don't get stacked orders on one app, how can I make it happen with a couple of them? So I decided to try it out and see how it works. The first time I did it, I completely failed on it. I grabbed, it was an Arby's restaurant, and I grabbed an order on one platform and on another, and when I took those orders, I was very, very late to drop off the order for one of them. The reason this is because when I took that order, I made a good decision when I got the order, and that I accepted an order from the same restaurant for both apps. And this is a key thing that you need to keep an eye on when you're out here taking orders on multiple apps. Whether it's the same restaurant that you're picking up for 2 different apps, or the restaurants are sitting right next to each other, this is highly important so that you're not driving too far to pick up one order or another. And then when you take a look at where the orders are dropping off, it's very important that you have one of 2 scenarios. The first scenario is you pick up from a restaurant or 2 restaurants that are right next to each other, and then when you're taking the deliveries to drop them off, either you want to have one order dropping here and the other dropping in the same direction, or you want both of those orders to be dropping off in the same neighborhood or the same apartment complex, so you're not going too far out of your way. You got to remember that when it comes to these food delivery platforms, the most important to them is the time. This is what really matters most to them. So when you pick orders on multiple apps, you've got to make sure that you can get the orders done in the time that they expect. The second thing I want to talk to you about is when you actually accept orders on 2 different platforms. I told you in the suggestion number 1 that you want to pick up from restaurants that are sitting right next to each other or at the same restaurant. This is really important because when you're taking orders on multiple apps, you might go to one restaurant and it has one of the orders ready, but it's still going to be 5 or 10 minutes before that second order is ready. Or you're picking up from one restaurant, you've got to drive to that second restaurant, and they might not be done with it. So if you pick orders that they're picking up from the same restaurant or from restaurants that are really close to each other, this allows you to confirm both of the orders at the exact same time on both of the apps, so that you are not accepting and confirming that you have an order, and then it takes you another 5 minutes before you actually start heading down the road. So platforms will notice this. So make sure that when you're getting orders on multiple apps, you hit that confirm button at the same time so that you can make sure that the timer starts on them for your delivery at that moment. And don't hit confirm on one of them and then wait another 5 or 10 minutes before you get the second order and confirm it, because that clock starts counting down as soon as you hit confirm. So that would be my second suggestion. The third thing I want to talk to you about is when you accept an order on a platform and you go to a restaurant to pick up that order. And when we pick orders on these platforms, we're looking for good dollars to time and dollars to mile and dollars per order. You've picked a really good order that you don't want to lose, but you get to that restaurant. They are really busy and they tell you, I'm sorry, but it's going to be about 15, 20, 25 minutes before this order is going to be ready. You don't want to give up that order that you got on that platform because it does have good dollars to time and dollars to mile. So what can you do in this situation when you run into it? What I do personally is when I go to a restaurant and I've picked a really good order and they tell me that it's going to take me 15 or 20 minutes, I talk to you guys all the time that when you are a multi-apper, that you really need to find your sweet spots. This is why I tell you this. This is areas that you can go to in your marketplace to get orders on all the apps consistently, because when I run into this situation and I go to a restaurant and they tell me it's going to take a while for that order to get ready, I say, okay, no problem. I will be back to pick it up. I go back out to my car. I have the other two apps that I work on and I see what they're sending me. A lot of times when I'm out here doing this and I'm waiting on these orders, I'll get orders on the other platforms that are paying me decent dollars to time and dollars to mile, and I can get those orders done within the time that it's going to take my original order to get done. So I go to the restaurant, they tell me it's going to be 20 minutes. I go back out to my car and I accept an order on another platform. I go pick up that order, deliver that order, and I get back in time to pick up my original order without being late because I picked the right order. So if you run into a situation where you've got a really good order, don't always just give it back when they tell you that it's going to take a lot of time. Go out there and make money on the other platforms while you're waiting on it, and then go pick up that order when it's ready. The fourth thing that I want to talk to you about that I do when I'm out here doing food delivery is, let's say I have an order that I've picked up from a platform. I'm on the way to deliver that order. I've got my other apps on because I'm on multi-apping, so I have orders coming in on those other apps. Sometimes when I'm driving down the road, I get a request from a restaurant that I'm going to drive by when I'm going to drop that order off. And if it's not going to be too many miles and too much time for me to get from where I am to drop that order off and back to the restaurant, here's what I do. I will be driving down the road taking an order, and let's say I've got 5 minutes left on it, and let's say that the drop is still a half a mile or a mile away, and I get a really good order from this restaurant that I'm driving by. I will literally accept the order on the other app when I'm still on the delivery that I'm taking, and as I'm driving by that restaurant, I can click on arrived at the store for the app that sent me the next order that I want to take. So here's the scenario. I'm driving down the road taking a delivery, and then I get an order on another app. I accept that order, and as I'm driving by the restaurant, I will confirm on the other app that I've arrived at that store. You only have to be within about a quarter mile of a restaurant to be able to click arrived on it. So use this to your advantage when you're out there. And if you're taking an order and you're close to having it dropped off and you're driving by another restaurant for a platform that sends you a request, click on that arrive button and they think that you are at that restaurant because you're within proximity, and then go finish that delivery, go back to the restaurant and pick up that order that you accepted. So this is a really good technique that you can use. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens sometimes when I'm out there, and this is something I do when I see a good order come in on an app and I don't want to miss the opportunity to get it. So to recap what I talked to you about today, I gave you 4 different things that you can do that are advanced multi-apping techniques that will really help you get the money that you're looking for when you're out here doing food delivery. The first one I talked to you about was taking orders on multiple apps at the same time. Don't be afraid to do it. Just make sure that those pickup locations are close and the drop-off locations are either in the same direction or in the same neighborhood or apartment complex. The second thing I talked to you about is when you are accepting orders on multiple apps and picking up from either the same restaurant or 2 different restaurants that are close to each other, don't hit those confirm buttons until you get both of those orders. The third thing I talked to you about was when you get to a restaurant and you've got a really good order and they tell you it's going to take forever to get it. Don't be afraid to take orders on other platforms that are quick and short that will, keep you making money while you're waiting on that order to get done. The fourth thing I talked about is when you are on an actual delivery and you are taking an order to a customer, if you get a good order that hits your phone and you're driving close to the restaurant that you're picking up from, as you're driving by, hit arrived at that restaurant so the platform knows that you're there, and go ahead and finish that order that you're on and go back to the restaurant and pick it up. I really hope that I taught you a lot today. Multi-apping, it's a fun thing to do when you're out there, and it can help you really get more money in your pocketbook. Also want to remind you, I have some great tools down here in my description. The one I want to talk to you about is my metric spreadsheet. If you want to get better at doing food delivery, it starts by keeping track of your numbers. I'm going to throw it up here on the screen real quick so you guys can check it out. If you look at the left-hand side, you'll see I always put my start time and my end time. This gives me the total time that I've worked. I also put in the miles. If you look to the right, you'll see for each individual app, I put the dollars that I've made, the time that I worked, along with the number of deliveries. Head to the bottom and you'll see it calculates out what your average dollar per hour, dollar per mile, and your average per order. If you want to improve what you're doing when you're out here doing food delivery, keep track of your metrics. If you don't do it, try it out and you'll see that it will improve your bottom line. I'd also like to ask you to like this video, to subscribe to my channel. Finally, I want to leave you with, I hope that you're out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.